Pardon me. Hi folks. I will talk a little bit about the UA8 mechanism. I might as well while I'm servicing it. Basically that's the base plate with the motor and knobs and other bits on we don't need to concern ourselves with, control arm and stuff. This is the main this is the main sort of part. This is your main sort of mechanism, and you got your velocity trip lever here, which we turn this, there we are, and that is pushed by the tone arm here, by the tone arm gimbal or mount, whatever you choose to call it, so that this engages with the boss, with the geared boss on the turntable. Now let me point a few things out. Just zoom in first. Now just turn this so we can see it, and I will bring it in a bit. Why am I pissing about? I've got a fucking remote control tripod. I can move the damn thing about. There we are. That's as high as I can go. Right. Right, well basically you've got your velocity trip lever here, which is not to be lubricated. You do not lubricate this. This is completely dry. Designed to be. It's got plenty of play in it. And this pawl here, this actuation pawl here, you don't lubricate that either. That is also supposed to be dry. So we'll not be lubricating that. And that loose, shouldn't be loose. No. And basically your gear, you lubricate your gear. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take the gear off. So I'm going to take the velocity trip even. I'm going to take the velocity trip lever off. And make sure you put all your parts in a tub. Now be careful there, because there's a ball bearing underneath this, I'm certain of it. There we are, I knew there was. So I say it's a ball bearing, it isn't. So what we'll do next, we'll take our gear off. There we go. Make sure our circlip doesn't fly across the room. It nearly did. And what we'll do now, we'll leave all this, try and leave this all set up. It might not do. Might spring out of position. There we are, like it has done. There we go. And that was a bit stiff, so that needed to come out. And all this needs to be cleaned. Now it's not too bad, this. It's not as bad as some of them I've seen. I mean, I've seen some that are really, really nasty. So what we'll do, we'll get, I'm just using switch cleaner, it's as good as anything. Just spray a little bit on, and then take a cloth, or in my case a pair of underpants. They're not the ones that are around my arse, by the way. These ones have never been around my arse. That's not to say they'll never end up there eventually. Basically you just clean all the old grease off the gear, and give the gear a wipe on the face as well, and give that little ball there. I thought that was a ball bearing, it's not, it's actually seated into this. Give this velocity trip a clean, and That is just right, that's just the right amount of play that we want in that. Because there is actually a little spring underneath that. Don't ask me how I know, because I lost one once. I may as well tell you. I did lose one once, but I found it. Well, it weren't so much that I lost it, it was more... See, we can clean all this grease and gunk and shite off. This is your push pad here. We're not going to take the push pad out because we don't need to. We can just clean underneath it and around it. Clean our centre spindle spigot. Make sure the spigot's clean. I'm not taking the centre spindle out, there's no need. It's not sticking or anything. I mean, there's no, you know, certain things have to come out, certain things can stay where they are. Get a bit on here so I can be working on that while I'm at it. Clean that there. That is designed to lift off, but we don't need to. Don't need to lift that. See, and that's all nice and clean there now. Make sure we've got nothing under there. No, we're okay. I mean, you only have to take them apart really, strip them in the worst case scenario where they're all gummed up and not working. This was working. So be careful with these springs here. You don't want to damage these springs. There we go. That's it. And that, when it goes to the end there, what it's supposed to. There we are. See, that comes down, that's what lifts your record, that's what lifts your arm up. That's your... I'll tell you what, they're a bit shoddily made, aren't they? But they work, they do the job. And that's all you can ask of them. Now we'll go on to the side here and get a bit of this off the bench. And there'll be enough there to just clean this little actuator mechanism here. Clean that there. Turn it upside down, make sure nothing's going to fall off, and we'll clean underneath. And make sure we get all the crap off, because we are going to re-grease. There we go. Right. How far does that slide? Slides quite a way. Is there any lubricant under it? Lubricant even. Yeah, that's got a bit on me. There we are. Give that a clean. There you go. Get all the crap out of there. Right, now we get to the, just clean this arm here. This is just for turning the mechanism on at the motor switch, but we may as well clean it. There you make it look as nice as possible. Now we've got this piece here which we'll just give a wipe. This is your Magidisc selector here. This is what changes the size of the records. That's called your Magidisc selector. That doesn't have any lubricant on it. That is dry. I think. You can always tell where there should be lubricant because it'll have traces of where it was. Give this a clean. Clean that spring. Clean that. We'll clean the little flag. There we go. And that's really all there is to it. I mean, for a basic service, I mean, we're not doing a rebuild of this. We're just doing a basic service, really. And you know, I mean, if it needed a lot of work and a full rebuild, I would do a full rebuild, but it doesn't. It's actually remarkably not bad, this one. I mean, I've seen worse. The one I did the rebuild video on was worse, which is my own. That's in my Peter Scott radiogram. That one was really bad. I need to dig that. I need to pull that radiogram out actually and use it for a bit, because otherwise it's gonna just fucking, if it sits there for another 30 years it'll seize up again. And that means I'll have to service it and I won't have got to use it. So we'll get our little brush there. And what we'll do now, I will go over the lubrication points with you. So what we do, we take the, let me just zoom out slightly. That'll do. Alright, move the remote control so we don't end up getting grease all over it. Put the brush. I like to use little small paint brushes, you know, artist brushes. Only cheap ones. I buy them on a strip of about 20 or something daft. So what we'll do now, we'll pull the push pad all the way back. Put a little bit of grease on the surfaces there. That's all we need. A little bit there. So all we need, little goes a long way. Don't have to over grease it. There we go. We'll get a bit on there. There we go. That's already smoother than what it was. And what we need to do next, we actually have a bearing. We actually have that bearing there that I thought was a ball, and that actually rides on here. So what we have to do, we have to put a light coat of grease just where that line is, where that score line is. Just a light layer of grease. You don't have to overdo it. And if you don't overdo it, you find your tub of grease lasts longer because you're not plastering it in places where it doesn't have to be. And make sure you keep clear of that there. You don't want to get any grease in there, because that's where your activation pole lives. And that's supposed to be completely dry. There we are. You don't need any more than that. What we'll do, we'll put a bit of grease on the pin. There we go. Let's get that bit off there. That's too much. That's it. Then all we do, we put the gear. I generally put it back on in its rest position, drop it down, push the push pad full, there we are, fully on, and there's no lining up or anything to do. You probably just saw the gear drop as I put the push pad down. As I pushed the push pad, the gear just dropped where it needs to be, and that's all you want. Anyway, let's get the clip to go on the gear. I was looking for a big clip there, it doesn't, it has a small one. It's not like the BSR, like the other BSRs where it has a big clip on it. There we are, that's that back on. Now we've got the velocity trip. Make sure your hands are clean for this job. You do not want grease on this. The velocity trip mechanism is clean. It's a dry fit. There is no grease put on this, none needed whatsoever. You hook it under the front here. You hook it under there like that, like so, because that actually fits into a groove there, fits into a slot rather, fits into a slot there. There you are, you see, and that then sits on there like so. There you go. Then we put our next clip on, and we dry the clips as we put them on here because we don't want any contamination. Just in case we get the wrong clip, a lot of them will fit in the. A lot of them will fit. Pretty much standard. They fit on the same pins. So we don't want. I'm going to have a few beers tonight and all, you know. So we don't want to get any contamination. There's no washer on here. It's just a clip. If you put a washer on here, there wouldn't be enough clearance. It's just a clip. There we go. I'm really just doing this for Phil's benefit mainly, and you know, but got the paintbrush going through the hole there. We don't want that. Right, so that's basically the top of the mechanism done. I did get the back of the push pad, didn't I? Let's just put a little bit extra just here. There we go. Let's turn the mechanism on one cycle, which is anti-clockwise, which will go that way. There you are. Nice and smooth. Back into its rest position, and the velocity trip lever is automatically reset. Now, there's not a lot really to this. I mean, these mechanisms, anybody can do them. Well, I say anybody, within reason, I suppose. Right, so we don't need to take the clip off here, we just need to just give it a little bit of grease. So all we need, just a little bit, goes a long way. Because all this is doing really is pulling, it pulls the actuator in so it can push the records off the record table and drop them down. That's all that does. That's its only purpose in life. This here operates the switch. So we'll just give that a little bit of, just on the top there. That's all you need, just a little bit, there we go. Now this here, just give this a little bit of grease. Only a little bit, just a small amount, don't go mad. There we go, and if you do go mad, just take a bit off. There we are. Spot on. You'll soon stop going mad on your grease when you find you're buying more of it. Right, now the pivot for the turntable, which is this bar here, basically what we do, we put a little bit of grease down there, because it was grease down there because I wiped it out. Put a bit down that side, put a little bit on here, there we go. See, that's the nice thing about having this nice square flat brush, you see, because you can get into anywhere. Now all I'll do, I'll cycle that once round. We want to go anti-clockwise, so we want to go that way. No, we don't. Do we? Yeah. We'll go that way, and that'll operate everything and put the oil and grease and stuff where it needs to be. There you are. Stand this back up and put this back into its rest position, which is there. Now, clean this bar. I would normally use IPA, but I'm a lazy fucker. Can't be arsed getting off my fucking ass to get the IPA. Oh, yeah, I got up a minute ago to get the grease. So we'll clean this bar. Any excess grease will come off it. I mean, the grease that was on it wasn't bad because it was still pretty soft, but you know, it's just waiting, isn't it? So basically, you just, if the mechanism's in your hands, if you've got it out working on it, you might as well. If you're doing one part of it, you may as well do the lot. Yeah, wait till you hear the way I speak after all the mistakes I make when I speak when I've had a few beers. Right, so we'll move the grease out of the way because I think we're pretty much done with that. If we're not, we can bring it back. It's no great problem. Now, the ball race, we're not finished with it. We want the grease up. We want to clean the thrust washers. They're just to get a wipe because there's never anything on them. There's one thrust washer. What I do with these, I put them in upside down, and then they can wear a groove. It can take another 60 years then to wear a groove in that side. Give this a clean. I mean, this is all nice and free and it's pretty clean, but there's no grease in it. There was at one time. It's obviously wore out and ended up somewhere where it shouldn't probably. So what we'll do, we'll grease up the ball race for this thrust bearing. Make sure we get plenty in there. Pack it nicely. Don't be stingy on the grease here because it does have to be packed. Because remember, this has got to rotate for another 30 years with no grease on, with no servicing, because no one ever has them done once they've been done. Once they're working, people leave them. Now we do there. So we drop our thrust bearing. I don't think it matters which way up it goes. Onto our spigot. And then we've got to be careful here because that's the one we want, because we've got another washer which goes on the top of the turntable under the clip. We don't want to put that in the wrong place. Well, this is a nice mechanism, and the reason I say that is because it's never ever been serviced. I'm the first person to touch this, the underside of this, since it was actually made. I know I am. And what we do is just put a little bit of grease around here, and what that does just stops the washer falling off and getting lost, because the deck will be upside down again. So that just holds, basically it just holds the washer on really. Whether it'll hold it on, I don't know, but there we are. It might fall off. If it does, I'll keep an eye. I'll just check it periodically. Right, so we can now move the mechanism out of the way because we don't really need that yet. There's no sense in me putting that back together yet. Right, so what we do next, we come over to the control arm mechanism, and this control arm mechanism is very stiff. Yeah, look at that. So what we do to remedy that, basically what we do, look away now, Phil. These usually screw off by hand. I've had a couple that have, but this one's not going to play ball. So what we'll do, we'll put the tool in it and just tap it to get it moving. There we are. You don't have to go mad with that. You don't have to, you know, don't have to go mad with that. It's just a little tap. And there we are, there's a spring in there. You pull the whole lot out and there's your control arm. And it's as dry as a bone, and it shouldn't be. So what we'll do, we'll spray a bit of cleaner on this and clean all this up. It's as dry as a bone, that. And it shouldn't be dry. There we are. Let's push the spring up and give the control arm shaft a clean. I might as well. So this record player hasn't seen a lot of use, you know, and this deck's got no wear on it whatsoever. I checked the idler before. I've not taken the idler off yet. It's normally one of the first things I do, but I did check the idler earlier. And the idler on this is beautiful. It's still nice and supple. It doesn't need any work on it whatsoever. Now let's check our lever here, which be careful you don't do anything with these bends in this. They're supposed to be there, them kinks. Now this is nice and free, as you can see. There we are. That's nice and free. So what we'll do, we'll spray a bit of cleaner up, just up the tube, because you can't take that out, it's a non-removable component. And what we'll do now, we'll try and get the grundies up there, see if we can get the gruds up the tube. Yeah, I bet many of you can think of better things to do, can't you, to watch a fat man shove a pair of underpants up a record deck. You know, and what we do, we put them, get the cloth up as far as we can, and that's probably far enough, and then just pull it back out. There we are. You could eat your dinner out of that, even if my gruds have been up it. And what we do next, we'll get our grease again with our brush. I mean, some people put oil on these, and you probably could, but the problem with putting oil on it is how long is it going to last before the oil disappears, because this is not oil retaining material, so you're not going to last long. So what we do next, we get a little bit in on there. There we go. We don't want any on the bolt or on the nut, retaining nut or union if you like. We don't want any on that. We'll put a little bit on here just to reinforce what's already, cause that way if anything's, and be careful, there's a little pin in here, I almost forgot to mention it. You don't want to lose that little pin. You lose that little pin, you're stuffed, and that little pin goes into a locator. And put the control arm back in. There we are. Right. look at that now. And just, that just falls down. What's the point of fucking doing that? Now what I need to do is just give this a tap. Just there we go, just so it stops moving, and that falls down on its own now. That wouldn't do that before. That's lovely that now. Perfect. Incidentally, when you're using these control arms, you are not supposed to lift it from there, you're supposed to lift it from the back. That's why they're a bit wider and a bit thicker at the back. You're supposed to lift them there, not from there, as many people do to bend them, but like that. Right. Well, that's our control arm. That's our control arm sorted out. And what we need to do next is shift that, because I could really do with a block, so I'm not resting on the control arm completely. There we are, because I don't want to bend the control arm. Right, so what we do next, we pick up our mechanism that we've just sorted out. And remember, you will have to restrip and rejoin the wires for the switches. Now when you're putting the mechanism back in, what I like to do is hold that out of the way, because you don't want to snap that. Yeah, our ball racers fell out. They dropped down there. So keep an eye out for things that might fall out. And you have to jiggle this until the lever, there we are, just pops through. There we go, pop that. What, why is that broke off there? Well, it's not. Thought there was something broke off there. It's not, is it? No. Oh no, it's part of the, that's part of the riveting. Right, let's get that back in. I thought there was something broke there for a minute. So I'll lift that up now. Now you have to work with it like that, because... Right, so what we'll do now, we'll hold... What we'll do, we'll turn it upside down now and move our ball race, move our thrust bearing and washer. What we'll do is we can line all this up. There we are. I mean, when you've done one, it's pretty simple. It's that one, you see. Once you get one of these under your belt, that's pretty simple then. They're not difficult. They're a nice easy deck to service. They're a good reliable deck when they're in operation. I can't really say anything bad about them, apart from the fact they're made by BSR. Which is not a bad thing really. That only became a bad thing in the late 60s when they started really making shite, you know. But these early decks, they were great, they were bulletproof. I mean, just nip that up, don't overdo it, don't swing on the screwdriver. You're not an ape, you're not a monkey, you don't have to, you just, there you are. You just want it just above snug. Just above snug, that's good enough. Then what we'll do, turn it upside down, because I turn it upside down, we can just line that up. I should have left it a bit loose. Doesn't matter, we've managed it. What we do next, we get our screw, our washer rather, our screw, and this is the main screw for the, oops, I might have to undo that, and two at the front again, just slacken them off slightly, get this one in. I don't know, we'll see. It might go, it might not. Yeah. There we go. That's it. Might be a bit cross-threaded there, folks. Yeah, we're definitely not straight, but the mechanism's straight. Just might be me put the screw in a bit wrong. But the mechanism's definitely straight. There we are. The mechanism's definitely straight. Now, what we'll do next, we'll do another cycle of the mechanism just to make sure everything is in. We'll check the velocity trip lever. We'll push that back. There we go. Now let that forward. Perfect. So what we'll do now, we'll actually make sure that everything moves as it should and check that this works. I mean, we didn't, what do you call it? We've got to connect that bar back up as well. So what we'll do, we'll start by taking this through a cycle, and we want to go anti-clockwise. Yeah, the arm bracket moved, the arm raise and lower post went up and down as well, so we're good to go. I mean, I've not washed this, there's not really any need, it just needs a good polish. Look at this, it's just like dust that's on it. A good polish will bring it up like new. But I'll do that before I put the tone arm back on. That way I can get into places. What I want to do next, we want to just check that works. So what we'll do, we'll send it through a cycle and just. I actually think that you have to have this connected, but I'm not sure. But we'll. Yeah, this has to be connected, and that's a fucker, isn't it? Because I've put that in. Yeah, forgot to put that in. Ugh. I might be able to just get to it. Right, let's make sure we're there at that end. What I'm going to do, because I'm not taking that out again, there's no need, is up the spring, up the spring from there. There we go. Hook this back into the hole it goes into. Bring this back. Make sure that's fully down. And yeah. had it then. Near enough. I mean, I'm just showing you really, because if you forget, then you don't have to take the whole thing back apart. You can just hook this back in. It will hook in, it hooked out. Another way of doing it is to get it on. No, you can't. I was going to try and get it on the point and bring it down, but it wouldn't work. It just not be in the right place. So basically, what we do, we get the pliers, just guide the spring, guide it in. There we are. Oh, missed the hole. You fucker. I'm not taking it out just to put a fucking spring. I'm taking all that back out just to put a fucking spring in. It came out, it should go back in. Get that on the edge. Get in there, you fucker. It came out. Had no trouble getting it out. Now let's get that onto that. Get that. I'm not pulling all that fucking mech out just to put this on. It will go. I've done it before. There we are. No, we're not. Right. This is a pain in the arse, folks, because it came out easier than what it's going in. Still, you bastard! It popped in and jumped back out. That there. There we are. I really need my tool with a hook on it, but I can't fucking seem to see it. It's somewhere on here, but I can't seem to see it. That might be it. There it is. Let's try my tool with a hook on it. Nope. I'm not going to concede, folks. Just get that over that lip there. That there. Oh, you fucker. That needs to just go over that lip. Just try and get it under that. And get it under that. Get that under that. That would actually help it. And just get that under there. Like that. There we go. Now bring this round. No, it doesn't work. Right. These pliers are a bit crap. Try these ones. Yeah. There we go. Just open it up a little bit. Didn't want to open it up, but I have done. That's a pretty thick piece of metal, that, because that spring's open quite a way. There we are. Now I'm just close the spring back up. There we go, we're in. I'd just like to close that spring back up. I don't think I need to be honest, but I'd like to have done to wipe the excess grease off that. That's not going to come out, that's good enough. There we are. Now, see, that goes down there, and when you pull that back, I always thought it reset, it obviously doesn't. Right, so that's down there, so when I turn the mechanism anti-clockwise, there we go, that's jumped back up. Let's put this back in its rest position. There we go. That felt a bit tight. Actually folks, that did feel a bit tight. It jumps back up though. Put that back in its rest position, which it should be there. Yep. Oh no, it's okay. That works absolutely beautifully. Turn that round and are we at the rest position? No. That's rest there. Right, so what we do next, we'll look at the speed mechanism. The speed changer doesn't work on this. We don't want to force the knob. Doing that breaks the knob. I'll tell you what folks, I'll come back in a minute. I'm going to have a fag and possibly a brew, but I'm definitely going to have a fag. Right, what we're doing now folks, I forgot to turn the camera back on. What we're doing now, we're going to service the speed mechanism. And generally take the speed mechanism apart. And the motor grommets have perished as well, so we're looking at replacing the motor mount grommets, so we need to look at doing them as well. Move that way, that comes off, lay the mechanism back down again. Right. That there is actually supposed to pivot. This here is supposed to move on the pivot, but it doesn't, so we're going to have to get this off the spring. There we go. And let's see if we can do it with the pliers. If not, I'll have to heat it up. Might have to heat that up because that is supposed to pivot. Because that is supposed to move up and down that. Let's get the heat gone. Oh, that's getting hot to hold. So it should now release. Moving. Oops, don't want to get it on the threads. I'm going to nail the threads up. Right, so find another pair of pliers. I've got a really old pair somewhere that really grip hold of things, but I can't find them. I know, God. I might have to heat it up again. Drop a bit of oil on it. See if that does it, because that is supposed to move up and down on that, so it has to be free. There we go. Now let's reheat it. Ooh. There we go. So you twist that now. Oops. You twist that. See if I can find them other pliers I've got. I've got a really good set of pliers somewhere. There they are. These are really old. Let's put that up there for a minute. These are really old pliers and got really good grip on them. Got to come out. If it doesn't come out, I won't be able to get it working. See if I can. Do you know, you'd be mistaken for thinking that's one piece, but it fucking ain't. It comes apart. Let's hold it with the pliers and then heat it up, because I can get more heat into it that way. Shift this out of the way. It does come out. It's designed to slide up and down that shaft. Of course, we don't want to melt the white metal casting or break it. Do it. Now let's see if we can. There we are, look. Oh, we need a bit of persuading. Now we'll let that cool down for a minute. That's going to be red hot. Just needed a bit of persuading, didn't it? Doesn't take much. Are we nowhere near to being able to touch that yet? No. Well, we can touch that. We can actually hold it by the threads as long as we don't turn it. Now the threads up. Just hold it there. Just hold it there rather. Get a bit of cleaner on it. Clean the crap off. Spray it straight onto the cloth. There we go. Put that there for a minute. Should be able to hold this now. Alright, and take our cloth, or in this case our gruds. Clean all the crap out of there. Now let's try the pin. Make sure the pin works. Ideally I'd like that to be able to drop straight through, but it don't. Near enough though, look at that. Yeah, there we go. There we are, all nice and clean. Ready for a little bit of grease. We need a little bit. There we go, that's all you need. Now, let's put that out of the way for a minute, along with its nut and washer. Now let's have a look at this lot here. That all works. Lift that out there a minute. Because that sits under there. This should lift out. There we go. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Back on the old gruds. Clean all that. Clean this under here. There we go. Clean all this. I mean, this grease is a bit sticky because it's been on there 60 odd years, and I mean it's done well to last that long. It hasn't gone as hard as it usually does. It was, I mean, when I did my UA8, mine was a lot harder than this. Mine was really gummed up. I mean, parts of this actually worked or moved, but parts of mine, most of mine didn't. Right, and that goes. Oh, hang on, I've not cleaned that bit. There we are. There we go. That's it. We're clean. Now this well, that's my tea out of the way, folks. That went down well. Right, so let's get this Yeah, that goes like that. Let's get this tightened up. Get everything. Yeah, because it swings there now, look. Yeah. Yeah. You know what I mean? There we go. Right. Put the thrust bearings back in, and we'll actually test the mechanism. I'll put the motor back in after because I've got to find the grommets. There we go. Put the thrust bearings back in, and we'll actually test the mechanism. Get the turntable. Doesn't that look better with a mat on it? Hang on. How am I going to test this? There we are. How am I going to test this? I can't hold it up. Let's try and, because it catches. Let's put it on that block. There we are. Spin down's good. Right, let's get a couple of records. Wow. There we go. And I might still need a drop of oil. Right, so what we'll do, we'll undo that. Doesn't matter what speed we're on, but we're on. There we go. It dropped them both. Well, at least it went over. I've got a feeling that this gap here is a bit too wide. This is out of adjustment, this spindle. But I could be wrong. Let's try again. There we go. Oh no, we're alright. And then get to the end. Arm comes back. Goes to the next record. There we go. That looked like it stuck there then. Don't think it did. Let's try that again. That looked like that arm stuck. Don't matter about dropping both. Why is it doing that? It could be because the thing isn't all the way down. Let's try again. Try again. Make sure. Well, it shouldn't do that. So what have we got that's catching? What have we got? What have we got? We're not located correctly. Let's have a look at how the arm's working. soon work out what it is. Set them records off. Leave that up. So it goes there, then across. It's gone right into the middle this time. Well, it could be actually, it could be just no, that's working, because it could even be the, what do you call it, tone arm wires could even get him pulled. Check everything. Everything seems to be working, so I wonder if it's that. What does this actually do? That pulls that back. Doesn't go on the other side there because I never took that off. No, I never took that off. So let's try again. It's smooth. Oh, it seems to be alright now. It shouldn't. There's something catching somewhere. I want to see. Yeah, that works. Let's try the 10-inch position. Yeah. Let's just have a look underneath there while that's engaged. And I can see right, well that's the velocity trip. It's not that. It could be that. I don't think it is though, because that goes right to the end there. Push that, bring that arm back. So that's rest. No, it's not that, it's not sticky. See, the problem is not being able to look underneath it. Might not be anything, it might be just me. It does seem to work. Just does that. Oh, it worked that time.